We open with German filmmaker Robert Wien's psychological tale of terror that drips with shadow. At a carnival in Germany, Francis and his friend Alan encounter the crazed Dr. Caligari. The men see Caligari showing off his somnambulist, Cesar, who the doctor claims can see into the future. Shockingly, Cesar then predicts Alan's death, and by morning, this chilling prophecy has come true, starting a domino effect for even more murders. What makes this film an essential viewing, you may ask? The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is the poster child for the German expressionistic movement. If you've watched our last video covering the 1910s and Gothic horror, you can see the similarities that Eerie Tales has with Caligari and how the film plays with light and shadow. This is the appeal to Caligari. The set is not just lit with light and shadow, but it's painted on as well. The world in which the characters resides is twisted and distorted. If you pay close attention, you don't see a single straight line in this film.
First time in Ireland.
My folks
came here for their honeymoon. Always wanted to come back.
Novelist Owen Ballman, played by Adam Scott, retreats to a remote Irish inn to scatter his parents' ashes. Along the way, he's consumed by a tale of a witch that haunts the honeymoon suite and the disappearance of one of the inn staff. Today we are talking about the 2026 supernatural horror film Hokum, written and directed by Damian McCarthy. Let's get into it. I gotta sit there and say, this film is #1 on my list for the best horror film of 2026. We're only so far into the year, and I'm already throwing it out there. I have not had so much fun with a horror film in such a long time, especially a modern horror film. I really did enjoy Nosferatu back in Christmas of 2024. That was really, really fun. It hit the nostalgic marks of the Gothic love as well as just the love for Nosferatu. But again, that's like a remake, where this feels a lot more refreshing. Welcome, folks. How are you guys doing? This feels so weird. I don't know. I've changed a little bit of the setup. Like, you have some actual natural lighting. I kind of felt like it was much needed, at least for the first part of stream. Like, get some natural lighting in here, have a little bit of artificial. First off, in case you guys do not know me, dang, you good, homie? Oh, yeah, I'm good. I didn't have like my sister and them didn't have a like what is it, like the little pimple stickers or whatever, you know, they kind of covered this. And usually I don't care if I have facial acne, but like this one right here, like actually looked like someone shot me in the side of the nose with a BB gun. But I was thinking about getting like some fake blood and makeup and like actually like dotting around and just make it look like, you know, I don't know. If anyone else comes in here and asks what's going on, is like, dude, what happened to your nose? I'll just say that my sister broke my nose. It's like, let's just give my sister some help for a little bit. But yeah, no. It's just a pimple, and yeah, it looks like someone shot me in the side of the nose with like a BB gun, and I'm like, yeah, not even I can cover this up. And I even saw it in the edit when I did today's trailer, which again, if you haven't seen it, it's pretty neat. Last minute trailer I cut. Not a lot of like whoosh whoosh whoosh. Yeah, sis wrecked me. Well, you know what's so funny enough? Sis has seen my mom sweet chin music me and everything. For those that don't know, it's a super kick from pro wrestling from WWE. What was it? I was being a brat, and my mom got enough of my stuff when she got enough of my bullshit, and my sis was telling me to leave her alone, and I said something smart aleck. You know, I don't remember back then. Probably the kick is what actually took it out of me. I said something to sis, and the moment I looked back, I just got like, you know, straight heel to chin, and I went back. And so it's not the first time I've had my ass laid out. But yeah, today we're actually talking about One of my favorite films to watch, and I actually got to learn a little bit more about the film, especially today when I was doing notes, because I was listening to video reviews to kind of get maybe like a little bit of like, well, where do I want to touch on first? Like, what is the one thing that people don't talk about nearly as much? And to be honest, no one really talks about today's film, which is going to be Vi, or V, depending on, I think, the enunciation, the language. It's a 1967 Gothic Dark Fantasy Folklore Horror film. It has so many different genres added to it, so we're going to talk about that here in a bit. And then afterwards, we're going to play The Executive, and even a part of The Executive, I won't lie, never watched it. Well, hopefully after today's talk, maybe you'll give it a chance, but it's definitely an interesting. You were touching on folklore today a little bit for your video, which, folks, if you're not following the Horror Historian, definitely give him a shout. Go check out his videos. He just released Character Files today, like a couple of hours ago. I got to watch it. That was really enjoyable, and he covered the is it Barker family? I think that was their last name. From Resident Evil 7. Pretty much, if you play Biohazard, Resident Evil 7, it's the family that is pretty much trying to kill Ethan throughout the entirety of the video game. But Baker, I knew it was something. Barker, Baker, Butcher, Baker, Nightmare Maker. That's actually a really good movie. If you want some really good trash cinema. But yeah, no, we're gonna get through the film talk here in a bit. Just kind of want to give it a little bit for the folks to come in here in the chill. So, they're not asking me 1,000 times, hey, what are we covering? Hey, what are we covering? It's all like, give me a second. But yeah, no, we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna play The Executive, which is a movie making tycoon style game. And even though in the game we are not supposed to be constantly making the same genre of film, I actually want to sit there and see how far we can actually make it in this game, just making schlocky horror film after schlocky horror film. Like, the whole purpose. You guys are going to be involved too with the naming of the movie and whatnot. But we're going to make some schlocky horror films, and we're going to sit there and see, can we actually make an honest buck in this video game, making schlocky horror films. But with that being said here, folks, it's 5:05. I've given the live chat here about 5 minutes or so to come in. I can actually go ahead and start the poll because we actually do have a poll going. If you have seen the movie Vi or V, whichever, but believe it or not, I have not. I have not for the life of me really looked up what is the correct punctuation. I've always hold on. What is up? Okay. I was so confused. I was like, wait, if you can hear me, then what's going on here? I've scared myself. Let's get on to the movie. I have fucking flopped so hard. And I'm doing my best. It's like, ooh, how am I going to open up with this? What am I going to do right before we go live? And I'm all like, I've already flopped it. I've already flopped. So we're looking at a Soviet Union era film. Anything else want to fall down? We're looking at a Soviet era film here today, folks. Released in 1967, two directors, Konstantin Yershov and Georgy Kropagyog. I apologize. I don't speak Russian, so any Russian listeners, I do apologize for the butchering of your language. But yeah, this is a product of the Soviet film industry and everything, made during the Khrushchev thaw, which was an era. It was kind of like pretty much lasting about like a decade. It lasted all the way from the mid-50s all the way to the mid-60s. And so what is the Khrushchev thaw? It is a post-Stalin era political repression, censorship, and strict state controls under the Soviets' control from the leadership of Nikita Khrushchev. In layman's terms, they eased the fuck up. They weren't really being... They were still, I would say, Unitarian. or no, not Unitarian, totalitarian. It's one of those Tarian words and everything, but they're essentially that. But they've eased up a bit on the censorship. Like, it's still not good, but they're trying to be progressive, I guess. So this film is set, believe it or not, actually a little bit afterwards, but it kind of has more of a commentary on there. What is that? I do not know. I just gave you a brief history lesson of kind of that surrounding time period, because this came out in 67, and that era had obviously had some time past, a few years past. I actually do have down below in the description, I do have some reading material that I've kind of followed somewhat along on here. It's where I've gotten like quite a bit of my notes, at least about that era. So this is actually not very dense. It's very brief. It's a very quick read. You can like read it while using the toilet, and you'll get it done before you probably finish, or you may sit there a little bit while, depending if you're a slow reader or not, like I am. But that article right there, which is Horror Histories, the Societal Resonance of VI, which that's what I'm going to call it for the remainder of this stream, 1967 in Soviet cinema. And this film, to kind of pull back a little bit, this film I discovered not through Metrograph on Instagram, but it was one of the film channels or the film based accounts on Instagram. I was actually trying to look for a couple of them, because as much as I love Gothic horror and dark fantasy, I really don't know too much outside of the US. Maybe a little bit in the UK, obviously, because I have covered some Hammer films and some. I have yet to cover some Amicus, but don't worry, it's on the way. But I have done my research over on British cinema, and I know a little bit of, I know more of the Gothic for British cinema than I do dark fantasy. But I'm always open to expand what is the scope of the genre, who's all worked into it. And some of these pages have introduced me to films such as this. And I have done like mini reviews through like TikTok, and I've uploaded them over here to YouTube quite a while ago. Believe it or not, last week's shorts, while I was looking through the analytics, Vi kept popping up. People were watching it. People were all like, "Oh, what's this? What's this? What's this?" And I'm like, "All right, you know what? Let's cover this film on the live stream. Let's talk about this, because obviously there are people that are interested in this. They're also interested in some Georges Méliès films. So maybe in September I'll cover some Méliès films, or maybe I'll wait it off, see if it's still popular by December. Because I kind of feel like seeing the beautiful art world of Méliès is definitely a Christmas gift. I don't know. I think Christmas when I think of him, even though some of his stuff was like horror comedy-ish. But either way, there were other films that I've discovered through Instagram. I ended up discovering Possession through Instagram because of Metrograph. I ended up discovering a Czechoslovakian adaptation of Beauty and the Beast, which this beast is not your typical, like, I guess, werewolf-ish kind of looking character. This one is more of a griffin kind of look, which I don't know if that was the original creature design from the German fairy tale, or of what origin it is. There's another film called Morgiana, 1972, which is actually a Czechoslovakian Gothic horror film. So either way, these channels, and if I can find them later on, I'll go back here to this live video, and I'll add them in the descriptions, because if you really want to sit there and expand your world of cinema, there are some of these channels that I've discovered films I've never even heard of. And thanks to some of my friends, I've also discovered some very schlocky 80s horror films. So it's probably one of the very few reasons I actually do keep Instagram on as a social media, instead of just going straight like, no, I'm cutting it off. I'm going to go straight to just playing YouTube or whatever. I keep it on there because a lot of my friends, for one, share my my content, but they also share my they also share not mine, but they share their films, and this has been one of those films that I really enjoy. And I've actually seen this quite a few times, so it's definitely up there. It's now joined the Cozy Film Club along with The Changeling and John Carpenter's The Fog. So this film has joined the comfy club, I guess, of Gothic horror films, or just horror films in general, that I watch. Moving on back to our cast and crew. So this film was written by Alexander Pushko, along with the other directors, Konstantin and Georgi. I sat there and saw the name Alexander, and I kind of like noticed he was the only guy. He was the only guy to get a Wikipedia page from, mostly out of the cast and crew. There's a few numbers. So something just told me, hey, just explore this a little bit. And apparently this guy was somewhat misleadingly referred to. Alexander Pushko is who I'm talking about. Was referred to as the Soviet Walt Disney for his role in animation in the Soviet Union. But I need to find out where this other line actually comes from, because there actually is not a because I don't really always believe everything that's on Wikipedia, which is why I always look more at the notes that links me to articles. I was like, okay, so where did you get this information? I don't just solely, folks, rely on that. I actually do read my articles. But they set to say he was more accurately compared to Willis H. O'Brien, and Ray Harryhausen, and more of that line of stop motion animation. Willis O'Brien pretty much did like 1925's The Lost World, 1933 King Kong, The Last Day of Pompeii in 1935, and Mighty Joe Young in 1949. And he won the 1950 Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, I believe, probably for Mighty Joe Young. So he is another filmmaker that, you know, pretty much works in this realm, and he's apparently inspired other filmmakers that I love talking about here on this channel, such as Mario Bava. Funny enough, connecting more to Bava is the source material in which this film is based on, which is from Nikolai Gogo, who Mario Bava had adapted his film Black Sunday, which was the film that made Bava a big name in Italy, and I would say around the world, as well as Barbara Steele. That was her big break in horror and in cinema as a whole, because she couldn't make it in Hollywood because people were not willing to give her a chance because of her British accent. So she went to Italy, she did Black Sunday, and bam, she's an instant sensation that I believe it was the following year or a couple of years afterwards, she would pretty much go work for Roger Corman and do the second Poe film that he did, which was The Pit and the Pendulum. And again, she's fascinating in that one. So I know we're supposed to be talking about vibe, but there's so much that this film has apparently cast a webbing that it links to so many other things in film. So I will try to pull back as much of the webbing as possible. But as for the story in all of this, we follow a seminary student named Koma, who is from Kiev and has a run-in with a witch one night, killing her and returning her into the form of a fair maiden. What we end up learning too is, after this night of what we kind of see off-screen propose a sinful attitude, and then Koma and a few of his buddies that are also from the seminary as well, they kind of use their position and status in the church to, I wouldn't say force, but definitely kind of give an upper hand towards this older woman, which was the witch, of like, oh, come on, like, you know, we're men of the cloth, we're, you know, like, surely you have a place for us to go to. And so she ends up, you know, giving the two, you know, seminary students a place in the house, and she sends Koma out into the barn, where she attempts to seduce him And as much as Koma is really all into all the debauchery and sinfulness, he denies this witch, and the witch ends up quite literally riding the man. And I don't mean that in a very pornographic way. I mean, she legit puts him underneath a spell, jumps on his back with her broom, and proceeds to make him run outside and begin flying until he says a spoken prayer that makes him crash, and Koma ends up, beating this witch with a log just before running away when she turns into this beautiful woman. And I'll actually talk a little bit about kind of like this first act ish a little bit later on too, because there is something interesting that I did pick up on yesterday's watch that for some reason I did not pick up beforehand. So with Koma thinking that he has left all this behind, he's even left his buddies behind. He didn't wait for them. He skedaddled the moment he could. There is a rich landowner who is demanding a Koma to participate in the wake, as he needs to sit with the dead body for 3 days in order for time for the spirit to pass on into the afterlife. And Koma is kind of against it at first, but then he's forced into it. And then he realizes that the body in which he is watching over is, in fact, the body of the witch he had slain the night before. And so he doesn't really quite feel so like, oh my God, like, anxiety ridden. It's like, oh my God, it's the witch that I killed. He just kind of figures, okay, if I sit in here and I do this and I read my Bible verses and do my job, then hopefully we can get everything passed through. But that's not the case, because even through night one, this witch awakens from what we were perceiving her as dead. She gets up, blinded, but still trying to essentially drive the priest mad. And throughout 3 nights, the activity gets worse and worse and worse, to the point where the final night she conjures up the demon in which I believe she serves, which is the titular name, Vi. I don't believe that you can actually sit there and see him here on the poster. The rest of these are the demons that actually do pop up though around the same time. But the witch ends up conjuring all these demons, and they end up essentially taking the life of the priest. Not really like in a gory way in which you probably would have expected from Italian cinema, because I don't believe this isn't Italian cinema. My bad. I'm getting so confused with Bava again. I apologize. But like despite the time and era in which at this time the Italians were making a bit grotesque, kind of bloody films, the Soviet film industry was not. I believe that was probably underneath some of the censorship issues. It's like, look, like you can do this film, but you got more limitations as well. So I think for a film that doesn't show blood, this actually does really, really well. It builds up a lot of suspense. It's very moody, eerie, very gothic in the nature. Visually, at least, it carries a lot of visual aesthetics of not the typical gothic of what you would expect from maybe an Edgar Allan Poe film, but from more of the actual gothic of what you would get from something more like the Castle of Otranto, or oh my God, I just had the book in my mind, The Monk, which Nikolai Gogol was pretty much the one I wrote that. I did not, for the life of me, ever think about looking up if The Monk and Nikolai Gogol's novel Vi released around the same period. I'm pretty sure it hasn't, because I believe Gogol passed away a decade before this film was made, a little over a decade. So I think he was a little bit more ahead of his time. On the surface of this film, it's pretty much kind of like cut and dry. It is a horror film about a priest battling, the forces of evil, which even then are kind of questionable. But on the surface, you can look at it. It's a priest trying to survive 3 nights, trying to do his duty, despite him being the root cause of all of this happening. in order to make sure that, the witch pass over into the afterlife, and he can go back to the seminary and go back to all the drinking and women chasing and stealing gooses and or geeses. Yeah, geeses group is plural, right? Yeah, in the film, you do see a couple of seminary students, like, they just run right by, take all this food, and then one of them legit just grabs a goose by the throat and, like, just throws it over his shoulder and just runs. And I'm like, that looked real. That looked like a real animal. So I really hope that, like, that wasn't a real animal. Otherwise, I would hate to be the guy that lets go of it and the damn thing attacks him. Because I would think if you grabbed the goose by the neck and ran away with it, that goose is going to get you. But deeper at a conversation piece, again, that I had just mentioned, coma is part of the whole seminary students, that they drink, they steal, they quote unquote kidnap women, but we don't really sit there seeing anything more, I think, in the vein of what we believe like kidnapping women is in the modern day of like trafficking. They don't do that. They're just more of the sweet, we are free from the binds of religion and our teachers, so we're gonna go get laid. It's pretty much it. It kind of feels like a Porky's movie if it was gothic and dark fantasy. It's kind of like that a little bit. Jesus, what am I saying? I just compared this film to Porky's. If anyone's seen that film, drop a hell yeah in the title. That's a film of its time. The priests, they enjoyed their alcohol, their women, and their theft. And we can definitely sit there and see that Coma does not shy away from using his status, regardless if he's a student. So it's kind of like almost like bottom level. I guess you would say the food of the chain of command for an organized religion. But it's a student flaunting that, oh, I am a man of the cloth. You should give me shelter. You should give my buddies shelter. Hey, you should also give me food. Even though the person says that there is no food, I have not cooked whatsoever today. He's like, oh, well, surely you have something. He's definitely pushing on that, I am a man of the cloth. I demand this, this, and this. So you should give this to me because I am a priest. And pretty much how he also kind of goes and faces the paganism that is in this film, because I don't want to outright sit there and say that this witch is satanic, because believe it or not, most of the stuff that she does not really come off as the by the book way, or really, I guess, kind of more like what Hammerhead did in the late 70s with its satanic panic over in the UK. It's not that typical stuff. It feels more pagan-y of what the witch is belief system. So there's that clashingness, and because Coma had come across someone that is just as much a possible deviant as he is, and he refused to bow to the old crone who approached him after he demanded, hey, give me shelter, give me food. And he got shelter at least, and he wasn't even willing to sit there and to give his booty up to the crone. It's like, hey, like, you're underneath my roof for free. It's like, give me your booty. But he's refusing that, which I'm pretty sure he would probably have done this if the crone was much younger. And yeah, he hides behind pretty much the majority of the film through his religion. But in between the nights that he's reading the passages and he's trying to survive what all the witches throwing at him, as each night he ends up kind of shedding that seminary student facade, and we really get to see him as how he really is. He gives in to drink. He gives in to some of the sinful duties and everything that probably a seminary student should be giving into. But he kind of looks at it as the more he battles this witch and the more he's trying to survive, the more he's actually losing more of himself. Or really, he's losing faith, but he's revealing who he truly is by the end, to the point where he's just so drunk that, you know, it's like he doesn't really want to sit there and go into the final night, but he's all like, it's the final night. I've survived 2 nights. I think I can survive whatever she throws at me now. Um, and then she calls in the demons because she's like, all right, it's night 3. Um, you know, I call in the demons did their job. And so she stops being the fair, young, pretty maiden, and she goes back to being the crone, which is just ghastly in a lot of the lighting when we see the crone again in the dilapidated church with all of the imagery of a Christian theology, kind of like, you know, I don't think it's painted on there, but it is definitely drawn on the walls. It does not look painted. It looks like these guys, I don't know if they had chalk well, I'm pretty sure they had to have chalk at the time, but they kind of look like they did that, and they did the design inside this. For a low budget film that was like made out of 50,000 Soviet rubles, which I did not do the math to find out what is that in a US currency. For very low budget, they really make their stuff look otherworldly but yet legit of the time period. And I don't know, there's just something about this film, about its coloring, about its lighting. It definitely reminds me of Suspiria, but this has a little bit more of a narrative drive to it compared to Suspiria, you kind of have to watch a couple of times in order to figure out what the hell you're watching. This one, I don't believe that. I believe you can sit down with this movie, talk about it, and you're not pulling at straws to figure out what's going on. The multi-genre. It's a gothic horror film, but it's also a dark fantasy film, but it's also a folk horror film. I think this is kind of what adds to the charm of what I also really, really enjoy, because I love folk horror, I love dark fantasy, and I love gothic. So this film wraps it all up to me in a nice little pretty bow. And welcome in, pal. I hope you're doing well. And yeah, it's such a beautiful film for a film that's very otherworldly. And I think a lot of the otherworldliness, I've seen films of the 60s, but seeing a Khrushchev era Soviet Union film, what happened to my nose? My sister broke my nose. No, my sister didn't. I have a really nasty pimple, so I'm hiding you guys from that real horror, you know. So we're talking about horror films while I'm hiding the real horror right here. God, I definitely feel like this is a missed opportunity that I should have gotten the fake blood and just put it all around. I see. Yeah. My final thoughts about the film, it's an amazing piece of cinema. If you really don't explore too much outside of the US, the UK, maybe, no, you know, I won't lump Italy in there, because even then I always tend to kind of discover a couple more Italian horror films, or just Italian films all in general, that I should definitely watch. This is one of those films that you have, like, I believe, give it at least one watch. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube, it's on Tubi, here in the States. I do not know outside of the States where you can find it, but the best I can tell you is just Google VI 1967 and see if you can watch it on YouTube. It's a wonderful, wonderful film. I wouldn't say it's whimsical, but it's definitely got something to it that adds to its charm. Also, so the beginning of the first act, when we get, this is going to be my final closing thoughts about this film, and then we'll get on with the gaming. But I noticed this yesterday when I was watching it. I do not know why, because I know I've seen this film over 10 times since I've discovered it a couple of years back. I do not know how I have not picked this up, but there's a moment when all these seminary students, along with Coma, are leaving for what I could perceive as either just the weekend, or like a summer break of some sort. And they cross the river, and there is this really bad makeshift bridge. You know, some of the guys were willing to step into the water, but Coma wasn't. He follows this little narrow, you know, piece of I wouldn't even sit there and say it was plywood. It definitely looked like a tree branch. And then the opposite end looked like two pieces of plywood that were like narrow plywood that were just like used to kind of balance it out. But he crosses through there. And then that's when you start seeing, like, you know, the alcohol drinking, the debauchery, the thieving. You see those students doing that. And then after Coma had his brush with the witch and had killed her with the log, and then she changed into the Fair Maiden, he is so frightened that when he runs, he legit crosses a river. And I really do believe that there is some type of metaphor, motif, whatever it is that film is telling me, because as he also runs, he gets close to the cattle, and the cattle kind of run away from him. And so my thought is Coma kind of followed the straight and narrow at the beginning before jumping into, you know, all the drinking and everything. But after his brush with the witch, which really I can't sit there and say that he's been touched by evil or touched by something otherworldly, because at the same time, maybe I could label it more if he has a brush with something otherworldly, something that goes maybe against his faith, against his current beliefs. But as he crosses through the river and the animals are frightened of him, I would sit there and think that with him crossing paths with the witch, there is a mark that was put on him to the point that even nature rejects him. I don't know how accurate that could be. Film subjective. That's what I took away. But I definitely looked at it as, if he already wasn't a marked man to begin with, he was now. And it's just like a very brief scene that my brain is connected. And I'm like, how have I not seen this? This is a film that, like a few that I have covered, it makes you think. And I love films that do that. I love films that make you think. I love films that inspire. And I love Black Sunday and I love Black Sabbath, both Mario Bava films. And I like that Bava was definitely inspired by Nikolai Gogo. Along with the what is it? There is another story that Bava has actually adapted as well, with the family of the Vodolak, which is also another Russian. I'm trying to find it. It's another Russian. What is it? It's another Russian story and everything. Which is, I believe, it's the family of the Vodolak, written by Alexei K. Tolstoy. Not Toy Story, but Tolstoy. Tolstoy. But the Vodolak segment, which is an adaptation of the family of the Vodolak, which has also been adapted as of recently into a film called The Vodolak. But yeah, Bava has adapted it, and maybe there's just something about some Russian literature. Maybe it's just the times and the culture in which it's written that, like, I watched these, I was like, wow, these are like really, really good stories. And I'll leave you guys with that. Like, what do you guys think of Vi? Have you seen it? Have you not seen it? Drop it down in the comments below. Yeah, that is gonna be it for the film portion of our stream. I'm actually surprised, because I thought that this was gonna be like a 15-minute segment, and then we were gonna jump into gaming. But I was like, oh wow, no, like I apparently actually had a lot to talk about this, and I was kind of worried. I was worried that, you know, giving you guys like the history lesson, a little bit about the Soviet film industry. I'm all like, I don't know. I do not know how people are going to take that. I don't know how well my community handles like actual like film history, let alone history to begin with. But we are going to sit there. We are going to take a real quick break. I'm going to give you guys the ad break. And then we will come back and we will play the executive. You, who likes history? I like history. Believe it or not, I'm actually surprised I have not tried going back to college to go be a history professor. I love history, and I think that's what makes me really enjoy looking at these older films too, is I have a very big love and passion for history. Not necessarily really one specific era in particular. I did really enjoy learning a lot about World War II, and not just the American side, but also what everyone else, you know, across the pond, what that environment was kind of going through. I used to be very, very informative into that, like during like junior high and high school. That was my era. That was my thing. It wasn't anything about like the tanks or anything, but it was like, I think a little bit more about the politics, the geopolitics and all of that. And then once I left school, I was like, oh well, but I think that passion for history definitely moved on to more of history of literature, history of film, history of music. Um, so yeah, who knows? Maybe one day, maybe one day I will go back to school because, you know, I did 3 years of film school, finished the program, and then just because I owed the school money, they withheld my diploma. Thank you, Art Institute. So even though I've completed the program, I still have no bachelor degree. So maybe I can go go do that, and I can go get a bachelor's in history. I'll be right back. You guys enjoy the ads. We finish off the tale of Frankenstein with James Wells returning to make his magnum opus. Picking up where Frankenstein left off, Henry Frankenstein is coerced into helping Dr. Pretorius into replicating his experiment and creating life. Meanwhile, the creature attempts to survive in a world that has rejected him. Eventually, the creature demands a mate from his creator. Bride of Frankenstein stands as the best of James Wells' works, and I would say the best work from Boris Karloff in the 1930s. I bet you were wondering when Tim Burton was going to hit on this list. Most moviegoers know Tim Burton's style in filmmaking to be dark and dreary, like an Edgar Allan Poe story. But film historians see this style to be birthed from the German Expressionism movement in the early 1920s. What makes this film take this spot on our list? Sleepy Hollow is everything made for Gothic horror enthusiasts. Science versus the supernatural, the conscious and unconscious at war over the masses, with greed, corruption, and revenge at the rotten core. We've already established how Burton's work builds from the German Expressionistic movement. The world of Sleepy Hollow feels like a nightmare from a twisted mind. There is a trance to it that also makes you feel comfortable to be in this world as well. Lastly, Johnny Depp's performance as Ichabod Crane can't go unnoticed. Switching from a teacher with a love for ghost stories to a skeptic constable really works for this adaptation. Add in the trauma from his childhood with his mother being persecuted for witchcraft, and you understand the character's battle against the paranormal, all the while somewhat fascinated with it. This film has a lot going on within the 88-minute runtime. There's a few laughs, some decent action, and great scares. This felt like a horror adventure that I would come to expect from a Mummy movie and more. Despite the fight with the censors, I would gladly tell folks who want to watch Hammer's Mummy franchise to start with this film. It's fun and it has a bit of everything for everyone. All right, folks, here we are. We got the game going. We got some lights going because I'm actually losing a bit of the natural lighting because it's getting darker. So let me know how the game sounds to you guys. We are going to start a new game. And screw it. Let's do easy. Open up a shop in Beijing and get ready to disrupt the local film industry. Talents, distributors, and competitors are all based on Chinese market. Interesting. I did not know that you can unlock different industries. We're gonna go for the we're gonna go for the Hollywood standard. So, for those that are wondering, what is this game? This game is, as it says, it's a movie industry tycoon game. You hire producers, screenwriters, what all and everything to sit there and make your films. And you're trying your best to pretty much, what is it? You're doing your best to, I'll just go with like a random, John Doe name. What are we going to name our studio? What are we going to name our studio? HH, you got an idea bouncing? Anyone else in chat got an idea bouncing? First come, first come. Or first come, first serve. Jesus Christ, I can't talk. I think I need an extra cup of coffee. Well, I mean, it's 4:45, so it's like, I don't know if I'm going to do that. Steve? Steve's going to be the name of the studio? Okay. I'll go with that. We're Steve's studio. I'm not judging, but okay. Listen, best I had on the spot. Oh my god. All right, so let's see. We got to release our first movie in the theaters, and we got to generate a movie report for our CEO. So that's what we're going to sit there and we're going to do. I am obviously the CEO. Oh, I'm a junior CEO. My bad. We obviously got to go with a small film. We're going to go with horror, obviously, because we're going to make nothing but horror films. At least until we can unlock the multi-genre thing, then we can mix up our horror. We'll go with a R rating. Let's see. I believe werewolf. Yeah. I'll show you guys like a little bit of pretty much like what do we have to do in order to get the film on the run. We'll just go with werewolf because that is a werewolf movie getting ready to come out. Let's see, domestic popularity. Let's try to get something. We'll get Mel Stewart. Oh, no. You know what? We can get what's supposed to be Herschel Gordon Lewis, but it's Gordon Herschel Lewis. We'll get that. If you guys understand that little tidbit of a film, Herschel Gordon Lewis created the horror film Blood Feast, which used sheep entrails for human guts, and it was essentially a film in which a brutal serial killer would cut out the tongues of women and disembowel them. It's a schlocky, I want to say 70s horror film. I want to say, yeah, right. Like, you know, imagine seeing that on like a big Super 8 screen. Use sheep entrails. So we have to sit there. We have to name the film. We got to get at least one genre, which we only have genre 1 to unlock. We have to pick a rating, a theme, a budget, a director, and a lead role. I do believe you can add supporting if you want to kind of help boost the popularity, but I want to work our way up to there. So we're going to look for, let's see. They work well with the script. They work decently well with the script, and they're loved by critics. So Robert Morris, and it's supposed to be like Robert Morris. Let's see if we can find maybe something a little bit better. We got Christopher, I think it's supposed to be Christopher Lee. So we got Herschel Gordon Lewis and Christopher Lee and a film called Werewolf. Our target is supposed to be 20. This is going to be the best of what we're going to get so far. Okay, so I do need to unlock the supporting actor. It's been a while since I played this game. So yeah, it's going to take 7 months to determine by base budget size and production skill. It's going to take 7 months to make this movie. So yeah, we just lost 720K. I have a pound of lamb I have to cook soon. Ooh, you know what? I've never had lamb. Yeah, I've never had lamb before. There's a lot. I've never even had sheep. I don't know if you're supposed to eat sheep. Yeah, I don't know. Also, too, folks, if you guys are new in the chat, we do have a poll going on. Are you a fan of Gothic Dark Fantasy movies? And it doesn't, even though I put movies, it doesn't have to really get the movies. It could be literature or comic books or anything. Just a simple yes or no. I figured, you know what, I need to start playing around a little bit with, you know, the polls and the Q&A and the goals. I don't think I'll ever do members only live streams. I think that would have to be a very special event. Okay, so we're gonna skip through the time here because we're still in January such and such. All right, so we need to make sure, so if you see this little scope here, we need to kind of figure out what exactly we need to have here to make it balance. We sadly do not have like any feats at the moment. Yeah, we don't have no premiere features and everything, which would enhance the film. So I would most definitely say if we were going to do a horror film with a werewolf, I think costume and makeup is probably going to be the best thing. We may drop the writing down to 25%. Yeah. We want this to be a, even if it is schlocky, we want this to be a really good werewolf film. Special effects, sound design, music, and editing. We're gonna probably drop editing down a tad bit, and yeah, we'll just have this. I don't think I'll unlock any of this stuff until after we get our first movie done. So far, we have put a little over $2 million into this. We don't have a salesperson, so ooh, we're just gonna have to bite the bullet here. Yeah, this film may not be. I'm your #1 fan. I'm your #1 fan. How you doing, Tizzy? I've never seen this game before. I dig it. It's definitely a very chill kind of game.
Oh, so... prestige level. This has 1 star, but it'll actually release around Halloween, which would be really good for a horror film. And it's only 60... yeah, distribution's only 46%? Action doesn't match with your movie genre, though, but it is releasing for a Halloween event, so that could actually help us. How are you doing, Tizzy? And yeah, HH, this game is very chill. This game is very, very chill. We are probably really only going to do a very short stream today, so we're only going to do an hour and a half today. So we are going to be live with this for about another 30 minutes before I have to skedaddle, because I have a video I need to script, and I haven't been scripting in the last 2 days like I want to. I've been like heavily note-taking. How are you doing, Tizzy? I do not know if I've already asked you. Let's see, staffing. Okay, so we still haven't even like looked for scouting yet. So yeah, this is just gonna, if it flops, it flops. If it succeeds, it succeeds. And here we go. We get film reviews written. The soda meter, which is not the critics, but it is the actual moviegoers. That is their score, where the avocado meter is the critics rating. If you're familiar with Rotten Tomatoes, it's pretty much what this is. I'm doing good, playing some Manor Lords before the chaos in Fortnite begins. What is Manor Lords? And how am I doing? I'm doing pretty good. I'm tired. I've been fighting the sleepies all today, but other than that, I'm doing really, really good, Tizzy. How are you doing? A respectable horror movie with a terrifying story. That's from Diversity. Hollywood Writer reports a hair-raising story and bone-chilling scares make it an enjoyable watch. New York Era says a typical horror film that mildly frightening but does nothing new. Thank you, New York. The Rolling Rock says a must-see horror that will have you glancing over your shoulder all the way home. And Self Love Gala says creepy vibes laced with well-executed scares, a satisfying horror film. Okay. Not bad for a rated R horror film for our first try. So now this is going to go through the theatrical run, and we are making money. We have to wait until the theatrical film runs its period. Okay, so marketing was a C, soda meter C, affinity was an A, which is how you mix your genre and your themes. Premium features, yeah, sadly we didn't have none of those. Competition A, trends and fatigue C. I don't really think that there's any fatigue to set in. And total score. Werewolf made on a budget of almost a little over 2.5 mil. What did it make? Profit loss to date. Oh, so it made a little over double. So it's kind of a success, but not really. Oh, but we were the monthly box office report. Kind of tough shit, but other than that, I'm good. Manor Lords is a medieval kind of city builder game. Ooh, that sounds fun. So we beat Battle of the Plains, and we beat Balance Point. That's not bad. We soared pretty high. And I haven't played this game in almost over a year. So... so we need to generate... what is it? Is it over here in analytics? Yes. So we need to generate insight. So this is probably going to take us a bit. And the winner is Small Yet Mighty Guy. Interesting. So, okay, so what it is was the range interests. Wow, really? Oh, this is for special effects. So I should have spent a little less on special effects, and I should have went up on the costumes and makeup a little bit more. So I need to have 50% or above on costume and makeup for horror. And I need to have 35 to probably maybe 25 on special effects. Either way, not bad. Kind of tough shift. Oh, I already read that. yes, if you do actually like the content, if you love the stream, definitely sit there and leave us a like, even a comment, even if you're not watching it live and you're watching it after live. It really does sit there and help a lot for the... I forgot what I was going to say. It really helps a lot for the channel. Oh my god. Okay, so we got that done. So we need to unlock a new theme and we need to release another movie. So, research. So I lack the research points for probably anything here. Open a sales department, allowing you to hire a sales. So that we definitely do need. We need to unlock the sales. So we have that. A new theme though. So we sadly do not get a chance to pick what themes we unlock. So it is all completely randomized. Select 2. Okay, so I guess we'll go with FBI. And what other one should we go for? We got Wedding, Ninja, or Assassin. That's the only other. We get to pick 2 from out of here. Which ones do we go with? We have Assassin, Ninja, which I guess they're not both technically the same, and then we have Wedding. I know today I decided to pick a game that's like, you know what? I'm requiring audience participation. All right, so sweet. We're able to at least sit there and figure out one of these. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to go work on unlocking the sequel research thing. So again, we're going straight to horror because we're making nothing but horror films. We gotta pick a theme. We already did werewolf, which I do not know why. I guess just because I didn't have, I guess, the right special effects and everything limited. But we'll go with Ghost. I guess we'll go with a PG-13 film. You called yourself John Doe? Yes, I called myself John Doe. I didn't even bother to even put a name for my character. Because really, this is probably going to be the only day that we actually play this game. So, that's why I didn't put in as much. Because, what is it? This coming Monday, we are actually going to be doing a short stream. It's going to be probably about an hour long. But we're going to be making a horror movie marathon. We're going to be using the Nightmare on Film Street podcast 2026 horror thing. We're going to be using those, and we're going to be building a horror movie marathon list on Letterboxd. So that's what's going to be. Do you know the origin of John or Jane Doe? Why do they call people that? Why do they call them John or Jane Doe? And I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with the tractor. I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with a tractor. Let's see. So Herschel Gordon's actually still doing pretty well. Because this is probably as best as popularity as what we're going to get. What about from the critics? What do we have from critics' side? I don't even know what name that's supposed to be. You know what? Let's go with William Friedkin. Or William Week. I have no clue how you're going to say that, but he's apparently not popular at the box office, but he is popular with critics and is really good with his script. What do you know? We're doing some type of paranormal shit. What is the origin of Jane and John Doe? We're gonna try to find an actor. Ooh, we could do William Kerwin. Yeah, let's do that. I need a movie title. It's got to be a PG-13 ghost film horror movie with William Friedkin directing and William Kerwin as the lead. Give me a supernatural horror film. title? Anything, whatever, off the top of your head. That's not Steve. Oh my god. Let's see what chat can come up with. Entering my parents' bedroom without knocking. Perfect horror story? Oh, okay. I don't know if we can get that whole full title. Let's see if I can actually do that. Okay, so entering my parents' bedroom without knock. There is a limit. There is a limit. So we're going to try again with the film title. Can we give us something that's a little bit shorter than that? Because that was off by 4 other letters. No Knock Bedroom? That definitely sounds like an Italian film. Maybe if I put an apostrophe. Now it sounds like a French film. Or an Italian film. Alright. William Freakin apparently is doing horror ghost erotica. Wow, apparently for this film, we have to really up the costume and makeup. Also, if you do not have this, you guys can get this actually on, let me look at the store page. You can get it on Steam.
Movie buffs. Ready to...
Hold on. I actually have to search it up because it's not giving me on the store page the actual name. It is currently $15. So if you actually add it to your wish list, you can, yeah, if you add it to your wish list, you could probably wait until either Halloween or Christmas and everything. Pretty much anytime really around the holidays. And, oh man, I forgot. Hold on. Postpone choice staffing. Oh. Okay, sweet. So we were able to save ourselves. Let's go with this because they have a pretty good skill in negotiating. So we're hiring Joan Jenkins. All right, so let's resume this. The list of the Romneys is out. Apparently I did not make the cut. Oh, well. Let's see. Can we pick? Oh, sweet. Okay, so we can actually have both of these guys working on here. All right, so hopefully we should be able to find better... We should be able to find better distribution. So we can work with United Artists again, and this will come out in June of 72. We can work with Pia. That's only 1 star. Subway Silver President is only 1.5 stars. That's 47%, so that's going to be a higher cut for the distribution fee. Or we can do 2 star. So you definitely want to aim, I believe, lower for this, but that 2 star works. Oh, hold on. Back. Oh, we actually have more of these. Oh, snap. So this distributor is a generalist. This will come out in June. But they'll take about half, and Worried Brothers will take about half. So... let's try to shoot our shot for generalist. We technically won't be losing half of our money. But, yeah. A typical horror film that's mildly frightening but does nothing new from Diversity. Diversity just does not like me. Hollywood Writers says a hair-raising story of bone-chilling scares makes it an enjoyable watch. Kind of feel like they got a little bit lazy on their review. The New York Era, another night, another fright, predictable jumps, but all right. The Rolling Rock says scared the popcorn right out of my hands, an impeccable time horror experience. Self-Love Gala gives it a 6.0, a well-crafted and thrilling, leaving a lasting impression. I think I went higher though this time on the avocado meter. I think I did. I think I went down on the soda meter though. I think our last one was like a 6.5. All right. Oh. Hold on. Nope, that's not what I want. Research, that's what I want. Marketing department. Subtext writing, cultural references, high fashion wardrobe, breakable set, natural light shooting, set armor. Post-production, you have your fight choreography, accent coach, narrative framing, slow motion. Okay, so I need to come back later in order to get my... I could probably wait, and I can actually grab maybe the cult film stuff first. I just need to get my research points up. But it's going through its theatrical run. Marketing was good. Okay, I think we did better this run. Trend and Fatigue's B. Affinity is a B. Sodomita is a C. That's not bad. So what do we make? Oh, God. Man. So we only made 3.3 mil. And the film budget was practically almost that. So we made back the money, but because of the split. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, so this is what it made domestically. It made 13 mil. But I'm only getting that. Oh, but we were still pretty damn... We're at the top of the box office. I guess Steve Studios is really big on horror. All right. Can I not? Okay, so I cannot pick the other person. So we need to unlock 2 premium features via the research menu. I'm actually looking at what's cheap, and so far 30 and 40 are the only ones. Because I really actually want to unlock... Oh, you know what? I think I need to... Patience a virtue, you're too early. Please come back later for this technology. Okay. So, let's see. We'll go with this, and then... We'll go gore effects. Let's go gory. This is a new game. Yes, so this is the executive. If you saw my trailer earlier, I mentioned that, you know, we'll cover the film by, and then we'll play a bit of the executive. I'm going to be on for another 18 minutes or so, but welcome in, Scarecrow. How are you doing? We are currently waiting for our movie insight thing to finish. All right. I spent way too much again on the special effects, man. But apparently horror in the Euro Cup has neutral affinity, I guess. I'm gonna wait until we finish up here in December before we go and we start a new picture. Oh, hold on. Alright, we're going back to small, we're going back to horror. Themes. Werewolf already works. Okay, yeah. Kidnapping, disaster, breakup. Let's go for a Christmas horror film. You know, let's make it an R rating. Henry Coster, Don Cathy, Irving Kershner. Oh my god. Yeah, you know what? Let's go with that. Let's go for a lead role. How are you doing, Scarecrow? Oh, you know what? We're definitely going for this. We're putting Dennis Hopper with Ivan Kershner. Give me a Christmas horror film movie title. And it has to be short. Give me something short. Chat. While I get my production team going. Pretty good. Just cooking dinner. Ooh, what's for dinner? I swear to God, if one of you guys put Silent Night, Deadly Night, that has got to be the most unoriginal title for a film. A Short Christmas? Okay. That actually... You know what? I may steal that title for maybe a short film. Maybe I'll do a short horror Christmas movie and call it Short Christmas. It's what happens when Santa leads one of his elves and his elves get a taste for a man's flesh. Don't ask why I said that. Oh, William Friedkin got nominated for the Gaspar. With Gene Hackman? Or... Yeah, it's supposed to be Gene Hackman. Mel Stewart with Gene Wilder. Interesting. So far, folks, I guess we're doing okay. Alright, so... If this is going to be a Christmas horror film, then the writing's got to be down below. We got to up the gore effects. We got to make it gory. Let me go look off over here. Okay, so we don't have nothing here to unlock. We don't have enough. We're going through the screenwriting phase. Krampus, Burgers and Tater Tots. Oh, I was about to say, why? How is Burgers and Tater Tots a Christmas horror film? Never mind. I forgot that that you told me. I forgot that you told me. Let's see. Gonna have the Santa sleigh level of writing, right? But wait. That's the one with Bill Goldberg, right? Where like he like went and like he just just impaled a guy with like an icicle, and like the one chick that was like crying, I think he just kicked her in the face and just like broke her neck, and it's like, oh my lord. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought. God, we gotta watch that then this coming Christmas. God, that's... So the farthest we can go is apparently September. That's only 41%, but at least that's a 1 star. This is the best that we got. So which is it, folks? Are we going to release a Christmas horror film in August or September? I think September's our best bet because we're not going to lose nearly as much money. What do you guys think? You want to shoot for August? Okay. I guess we'll go with United Artists. Or Untied Artists. Go for broke, right? It's like, you know, you missed Christmas in July. What the hell? Diversity actually liked this, though. What the hell? Diversity actually gave us a decent review. Well-crafted and thrilling, leaving a lasting impression. I, like, dropped the fucking damn... Oh, my God. I dropped the slider for writing all the way down to 15%. I was expecting garbage writing. Hollywood Writer says a typical horror film that's mildly frightening but does nothing new. New York says hair-raising story with bone-chilling scares makes for an enjoyable watch. I misread that almost for a moment. A must-see horror film that will have you glancing over your shoulder. Let me know when I can open up my eyes. Terrifying. So Self-Love Gala and Diversity apparently love trash horror. Hollywood Writer, New York... Well, New York era kind of is more of a neutral territory. But Rolling Rock and Hollywood Writer apparently like a little bit more highbrow horror, I would say. All right, it's going through its theatrical run. Let's see how much we lose. God! We lost money on that. Third-party distributors, yeah, they all took all that out. All I got was that. Film budget itself, well, we went for broke. But apparently it was... That's gotta win. Wow, we got number 4 at the box office. Wow. Wow. That really hurt. I was on top for 2 weekends, or 2 movies in a row at least, and... Let's see where Short Christmas lost its luster. Yeah, God, we were slowly just losing it. We started at 15.3 mil, then 13.19 mil, and now we're at 8.33. So I did finally get the special effects right. For Horror and Christmas were mild, but... Alright, we're going back to small film. Genre fatigue. You have had used the genre too often lately. Let's go thriller. Thriller is probably the next big thing right next to horror. I guess we'll go FBI. We're going to go for R rating because you know what? I'm a glutton for punishment. So, we'll go with, I think it's supposed to be Michael Crichton or Michael Chiton, whatever. I think it's supposed to be Doris Day. Then it's supposed to be Arthur Hill. Let's go with that. Okay, so we're looking for an FBI thriller name. FBI thriller name. What do we got, folks? What do we got for FBI thriller? That is an R-rated film. What do we got? Because I trust you guys. I trust you guys not to bankroll me. Which I don't know what that says about me as a filmmaker and streamer. It's like I trust my audience not to you know, not to bankrupt me, not bankroll, bankrupt. What do we got? Tizzy, Scarecrow, anyone? I have one, but I'll give Chad a chance. Going once. LOL, my names are bad enough. Hey, your names are your names, though. Here, I'll go with something. Cobalt. I don't know. I kind of feel like, yeah, a thriller, Tizzy. I already picked the title, though. I want to try to sit there, see how many films we can get through. Yeah, I know. Usually we do horror, but... Ultra Glide by Jordan Garks Jr. I think it's supposed to be Gordon Parts? I have no clue. Yeah, Cobalt, yes. We're gonna make it gory. We're spitballing here. We're spitballing. Oh, I forgot to like actually go get other themes. Let's give it all the editing. Maybe drop the special effects by 1, up the sound design by that. Open analytics department allowing you to hire analysts. Oh, we can actually go ahead and upgrade to... Oh, we can already do sequels. I'm doing that. I made a terrible buying decision, but I will live with it. Alright, let's see. What are we going to get? I'm guessing this is probably going to come out around Christmas. So we do have Columbus Pictures that will actually release it next year in January. That's probably going to be the best one that we got. But they will take a larger distribution fee from it. But we also have award season here in November. Nothing's releasing in December. Stanley Kubrick and Ryan O'Neal. And Lyndon the Bold. Interesting. Or we can go to Warry Brothers and... You know what? Let's try going to Warry Brothers. What do they have going? Homicide on the Eastern Train and Tremors of the Earth. With Tremors of the Earth starring Charlton Heston and Ava Gardner? Legend is streaming. Yo, what's up, Ollie? How are you doing? Lauren Bacall and Albert Finney with Sidney Lumet and Homicide on an Eastern Train. Interesting. Yeah, you know what? We're going to go with Warry Brothers. We're going to go with them. We're going to see what that's going to release. How you doing, Ollie? I got to fix myself. I'm sorry, folks, that I'm slouching. Oh, and I ain't... Oh, snap. We actually got a really, really good score here. This thriller makes your pulse race faster than a cheetah after an espresso shot. That's got to be the most cheesiest freaking review pitch I've ever heard. A pulse-pounding masterpiece that will haunt your dreams. Get ready to be on the edge of your seat from start to finish, from the Hollywood writer. Despite not reaching hair-raising heights, this thriller still grips you with consistent tension from the New York era. The Rolling Rock gives it an 8. A mind-bending thriller that keeps you guessing till the very end. Deserves a round of applause. And then number 8 from Self Love Gala. A heart-pounding rush of adrenaline in the world of thrillers. This film is undisputed heavyweight champion. Alright, now we're going to let it run through its theatrical stuff. You're beating Dark Souls like a god-level gamer. I die every 5 minutes. Ooh. I give you praise on playing Souls games. I can't do Souls games. All right, that's not too bad. We made a little over 3.3 mil. We did really, really good. Seems like R-rated films are really, really doing well. And I came in at number 3, Tremors of the Earth and Homicide on the East Train. Wow. One entire distribution company and all 3 of their films. Oh, well, we were the only 3 films that came out that month. I don't know how that makes me feel then. All right, get more than $40 million in your bank account. Move to a small office. So, FBI thrillers are excellent. Unknown for that. I didn't add enough special effects. That's why. Oh, I got the time. All right, we have time for one more movie, folks. So we're going to make it a horror film. And we're going to make it a sequel to Werewolf. Werewolf. Yes. That's what we're going to call it. And we're going to name it Werewolf 2. Your brother's a wolf. I don't know if I can get... I don't know if I can actually get the whole... Oh, I got the whole damn title in there. Holy shit. We're gonna get Roger Corman, even though he's not popular domestically. Wow, I see what you did there. Yeah, any Howling fans watching this? Not your sister's a werewolf, your brother's a werewolf. I mean, I do have the hair, so that's just how pale I am. So Roger Corman's going to direct this with Christopher Lee returning, which is funny enough because Christopher Lee was in The Howling 2, Your Sister's a Werewolf. I just realized what I just did. Werewolf 2, Electric Boogaloo. Who knows? Maybe somewhere down the road, maybe I'll bring this game back and we'll do a community night where you guys got to bring your best horror, thriller, whatever movie titles in, and we'll do this. So yeah, our final film is going to be a sequel. Final film is going to be a sequel. So we definitely know. Oh, apparently my costumes and makeup have to be high. The writing's got to be dumb. Or dumb enough. Because this is a horror film. Listen, Short Christmas was a banger title. Oh, true. I just may write a short Christmas themed horror film and just call it Short Christmas. Special effects. The total budget allocates must be 85. Yeah. There we go. We're going to up the editing and the sound design. Oh, man, this isn't going to release in time for Halloween. Damn. Because we're filming it. So this is probably going to come out probably February. Maybe. Maybe February. Maybe March. It'll probably release towards the later end. Only 2 film... Oh, my God. So one, it's like a star and a half. That'll release in 2 months by Subway Silver President, or Pia, who has 1 star, but it'll take much longer. You know what? We're gonna gamble. We're gonna gamble. Yeah, I'll give you a raise. Decent scare sprinkled over a generic plot. A hair-raising story and bone-chilling scares makes an enjoyable watch. Unforgettable scares and a spine-chilling plot makes a must-see. Must-see horror films that will have you glancing over your shoulder. Yeah. Another Night, Another Fright. So Self-Love, Gala, and Diversity did not like this, but Hollywood Writer, New York Era, and Rolling Rock did. And the Soda Meter, you know, it did it again. What was it that I was gonna get? Is it this? Okay, so yeah, I think I have to wait later because I don't think at this time. Yeah, here we go. All right, so now we're going through the theatrical run. Who won the Romneys this year? Teeth of the Ocean by Steven Spielberg. Interesting. Oh, folks. Well, we didn't lose nearly as much money. But I can probably guarantee you we are not getting a sequel. We're probably going to have to wait for a reboot in like 20 years. I don't even know how much Howling 2 really made, so I don't know if this is like a very just realistic estimation of... This is what happens when you sequelize a werewolf film. I was the only film, though, that came out... Oh my god. So, they essentially gave this to me. They gave this to me. The move costs and monthly costs. Alright, so we're going to be able to move. So, folks, we're going to call that for today. Howling 2 was wild. Yeah, I remember like how crazy it was. We're going to save this game. Oh, so I had one for Cannon and Hammer. That's fucking hilarious. So I did... So Cannon was my first one. Yeah, and I think it takes me all the way to 20... I think it's 2012. And then Hammer comes... was my second one. But we got Steve. Budget was like 2 mil, so I'm guessing it lost money. Oh yeah, it definitely did. Because if I remember correctly... I think Howling 3 was straight to VHS. I think Howling 2 did get a theatrical run. But, yeah, no. Straight to VHS. Alright. Alright, folks. We had a time. We had a time. So now it is our time to say bye-bye for the time being. But don't worry, because I'm going to be back Monday night. We are going to be doing these now Mondays and Friday evenings at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're wondering, hey, he's streaming on a totally different day now. It's not Monday. Yeah, I'm doing Mondays and Fridays. I've been enjoying streaming on here. You guys have made it a lot of fun to stream on here. Sybil Danning was stupid expensive to get, I'm guessing. Well, Sybil Danning also did not like it that she had to get naked. Or no, what was it? I think like she had to be... They were wanting her to be like full frontal nude. And that wasn't discussed in her in her contract. And then I think they used the same shot for like any time that they needed a nude scene. They used the same shot of Sybil Danning, if I remember correctly. It was odd. It was very odd because like it, you look at it and it's definitely a product of his time. I don't even know who made Howling 2. Your Sister's a Werewolf. 1985. Philip Mora. I have no clue who that guy is. He is a French filmmaker. His works were known as Communion, which came out 4 years later. Yeah, The Beast Within. I've heard of that one. Brother King Spare Me a Dime. He also directed Howling 3. Wow, so this damn dude, apparently, he did not kill off a franchise quick enough that they're like, come back for 3. And he still didn't kill off the franchise because I think there's like, what, there's 7 movies? Um, the man's still making movies in modern day, but yeah, no. Sybil Danning, Annie McEnroe, Reb Brown, Marsha Hunt, and Christopher Lee. Interesting. And I don't even think this one had anything to do with the books, if I remember correctly. But yeah, folks, we are going to leave you, sadly, but I'll see you Monday. Monday, we are going to be building a horror movie marathon. We are going to be using the Nightmare on Film Street podcast, is 31 Days of Halloween. For this year, we're going to be using that because I do believe it already came out. There's 8 films in the Halloween franchise. Jesus. Well, I'm pretty sure 2 of those are reboots or something like that. But yeah, we're going to be doing that. So Monday's going to be a short stream, but I will be back Friday. Friday, I am still trying to figure out what we're going to sit there and do on stream. I'm still trying to figure that out for the 4th. Oh, I think I did figure out what I was going to cover. I think we're going to do another 60s film. But I will be the following week. Once we get into the first full week of September, I will not be live on the 7th, but I will be live on the 8th, and we're going to be playing probably for a good chunk of the majority of September, going into October and November, and probably really the rest of the year. We're gonna be playing Halloween the video game. We're gonna be seeing how far we can grind into this game. I pre-ordered it, just the standard thing, so I won't be getting it on the 4th, like for Friday. So I won't be able to play on it for the weekend, but I will be able to play it Tuesday. So following week, I will be streaming on a Tuesday, and then we'll be back to Monday. But yeah, with that all being said, you guys have a good one. You guys take care of yourselves. Watch a good movie. We have our poll ended here. About 80% of the audience here really does love Gothic Fantasy, and 20% said no, which is fine. It's not a genre for everyone, but thank you guys for your honest opinion through the poll. Later, homie. You take care, HH. Folks, go follow the Horror Historian. He may be going live sometime else this week. For the life of me, I do not know why I cannot remember what game you were streaming, but he did have a new video. Oh, are you still playing Castlevania Lords of Shadow? I don't know if you finished that. I know I saw you last night. I was like very delirious, and I was like, I'm so tired. Very possibly. Okie dokie. So if you want some Castlevania love, even if it is Lords of Shadow and everything, definitely go give him a follow and everything. He had a new video out right now, Character Files, which talks about the Baker family from Resident Evil 7. If you love anything that is horror video game related, HH is the guy. Where I am the classic horror film nut job, HH is the horror video game nut job to be the companion piece for that. With that being said, folks, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys all on Monday. Peace out.